Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. I am Princess Habiba Saripaudak from Radyo Pilipinas. Welcome to Balitang Pambansa. Tonight's headlines. The government continues to provide programs to ensure enough food supply and address hunger among the most vulnerable sectors of society. Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, Chief of Staff General Romeo Browner Jr. reiterated the need for the country to prepare in case Taiwan is actually invaded by China. The administration's senatorial bets continued their campaign in various areas of the country to convince voters to choose them come election time. On top of the news, the government continues to roll out programs aimed at ensuring food security for the country's poorest communities. Currently, 300,000 households, or approximately 1.5 million individuals, received a 3,000 pesos monthly food subsidy to help them purchase essential goods. The government is also reviewing a report from the Social Weather Stations, or SWS, which revealed that 27.2% of Filipinos have experienced involuntary hunger due to lack of food. Aside from financial aid, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, established the Walang Gutom Kitchen in Pasay City. Meanwhile, the Department of Agriculture, or DA, is intensifying efforts to increase food production. The agency has allocated 21 billion pesos for the National Rice Program, while the Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI, is also working alongside the Agriculture Department to monitor and prevent excessive rice price hikes.
Maliban pa po dyan ay meron pa rin po tayong, meron po ang DSWD na programa. Ito po yung Walang Gutom Project Kusinero Cook-Off Challenge para po ma-improve yung public nutrition. At meron din po ang Walang Gutom Project that provides eligible families with electronic benefit transfer po. Ito po 3,000 peso monthly food credits. So aaralin po natin kung saan nanggagaling itong mga sinasabi na nagugutom pa ang ibang mga kababayan natin. At para malaman natin kung saang lugar ito at kung meron man pagkukulang, ay maibsan po natin ang ganitong klaseng mga sitwasyon po.
Meanwhile, the government has assured assistance to 17 Filipinos arrested in Qatar for participating in a protest in support of former President Rodrigo Duterte, who is currently retained at the International Criminal Court, or ICC, and facing charges of crimes against humanity. According to the palace, the government has the responsibility to protect the welfare of every Filipino, regardless of their beliefs. The palace added that the Philippines labor attaché in Qatar has deployed a lawyer to assess the situation of the detained Filipinos, provide legal assistance, and ensure their rights are upheld. Care packages will also be delivered in those in custody. The administration's Senate slate under the Alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas coalition continues to ramp up its nationwide campaign, reaching out to voters across different regions in preparations for the 2025 midterm elections. With just months to go before the highly anticipated polls, candidates are actively engaging with communities and presenting their platforms. PTV's Daniel Malalstas has the report.
The administration's Senate slate, Alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas, continued to woo voters. Senator Francis Tolentino joined the National Assembly of the Liga ng mga Barangay held in Pasay City. He cited a number of government actions in protecting the country's territory and resources. He highlighted the importance of unity and helping each other toward a better future. Senator Pia Cayetano in the meantime met with local leaders in Tanza, Cavite, where she emphasized her advocacies of strengthening the health system, empowering the youth, and forging inclusive community development. Senator Bong Revilla, meanwhile, thanked the people of Iloilo for their warm welcome in the province last Friday. Today, he also attended the Liga ng mga Barangay sa Pilipinas General Assembly. He commended barangay leaders for their leadership and service, especially for their constituents. Former Senator Panfilo Lacson meanwhile visited Baguio City as he emphasized that one of his legislative agenda remains on fighting corruption and promoting good governance. Senator Lito Lapid meanwhile held a motorcade in his 5-day visit in Cebu, removing the value-added tax in electricity and petroleum products. Meanwhile, are a couple of what former DILG Secretary Benhur Abalos as he visited Zamboanga del Sur. He also proposes for provisions in a bill or law that will ultimately benefit contract of service and job order workers in the government. From PTV Manila, Daniel Manalastas, Balitang Pambansa.
Much like its far larger neighbor to the south, the proud, prosperous, and democratic-loving self-ruled island of Taiwan has been harassed and threatened no end by mighty mainland China, which has repeatedly vowed someday, sooner or later, to militarily take over the island. It is a scenario that the AFP has been preparing and practicing with the lives and safety in mind of over 250,000 migrant Filipino workers making a life and living there, as AFP Chief General Romeo Browner Jr. indicates on the occasion of the 30th anniversary of the Northern Luzon Command. Our Patrick De Jesus fills us with this report.
China's Army, Navy, Air Force, and Rocket Force have once again surrounded Taiwan in a military drill. Beijing carried out this exercise as a warning against the push for Taiwan independence. According to Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense, 19 warships of the People's Liberation Army Navy were detected this Tuesday. Taiwan is also monitoring China's Shandong aircraft carrier, which entered its response zone on March 29. Taiwan has called China a troublemaker due to its ongoing military threats in the Taiwan Strait and the Indo-Pacific region. However, Taiwan insists it will adhere to the principle of no escalation of conflict, despite what it describes as gray zone harassment. On the 38th anniversary of the AFP Northern Luzon Command today, AFP Chief of Staff General Romeo Browner Jr. once again emphasized the importance of the Philippines' preparedness in the eventuality of a Taiwan invasion. Browner said this is part of the military shift to territorial defense, with NOLCOM serving as the frontline unit in the country's northern region.
But let me give you this challenge, this further challenge. Do not be content with securing just the northern hemisphere up to Mavulis Island. So extend na natin yung sphere of operations natin. Because if something happens to Taiwan, inevitably we will be involved. There are 250,000 OFWs working in Taiwan, and we will have to rescue them. And it will be the task of Northern Luzon Command to be at the front line of that operation.
The AFP chief added that war scenarios must be considered as part of preparations.
We are already at war. I am not referring to the kinetic warfare that we see between Ukraine and Russia, or between Israel and Hamas. But we are experiencing already cyber warfare, information warfare, cognitive warfare, political warfare. No? So, sinisingitan na tayo. The Communist China is already conducting united front works in our country. Hindi po kathang-isip yun na pinapasukan na nila. They're already infiltrating our institutions.
Meanwhile, the Philippine Navy will implement an enhanced order of battle in the West Philippine Sea and the northern maritime regions of the country. The revamp includes changes in command and control structure at Naval Forces West and Northern Luzon, as well as preparations for newly arriving vessels, including the BRP Miguel Malvar and BRP Diego Silang, along with more modern equipment.
Nagbibigay tayo ng mas magandang, mas malaking atensyon ngayon sa mga lugar na ito, and these are the naval components confronting them.
From the People's Television Network, Patrick De Jesus, Balita Pambansa.
Meanwhile, the composite assistance to national teams arrived in Mandalay, Myanmar to monitor the situation of Filipinos there. The Philippine Embassy in Myanmar went to the site where 4 missing Filipinos were last seen to coordinate with the supervisor who is leading the search and rescue operations. Currently, there are still no Filipinos confirmed, rescued, or retrieved from the said site. Meanwhile, Myanmar declared a week of mourning after the country was struck by magnitude 7.7 earthquake that caused over 2,000 death tolls. On the other news, Senate President Francis Escudero wants to assure that the Philippine government will help Filipinos affected by the earthquake in Myanmar and Thailand. Also, he assured that the government will provide psychosocial support for the survivors. Meanwhile, the Senate President expressed his sympathy and condolences to the governments of Myanmar and Thailand and to the families of those who lost their loved ones. Some representatives are in favor of crafting an anti-political dynasty law. A new petition was filed before the Supreme Court, or SC, aiming to obligate Congress to pass a law against political dynasties. Surigao del Norte 2nd District Representative Robert Ace Barbers points out that it would be better to define the meaning of political dynasty in the would-be measure. For its part, the Makabayan Bloc expressed that it is in favor of the proposal.
Tulad ng matyagang pagtatanim at paghihintay sa pagsibol mula sa isang maliit na binhi, ganoon din nagsimula ang isang organisasyon sa Zamboanga, Sibugay. Si Larry Valenciano ay ang chairman ng Bato Farmers Cooperative sa CI Zamboanga, Sibugay. Ikinuwento niya kung paano nagsimula ang kanilang organisasyon noong 1991 bilang isang farmers association at naging isang kooperatiba noong 1994 na may 26 na mga miyembro.
Sa una, nagsugod may as a farmer association, mainly sa among mga members was to invest in rice industry. And when we discovered that the calamansi industry is more profitable than rice, then we shift to the calamansi industry.
Mula sa kanilang simpleng pagsisimula sa pagtatanim ng palay at kalamansi, pinalawak na nila ang kanilang saklaw sa ibang mga produkto. Isa sila sa mga organisasyong nakatanggap ng iba't ibang farm machineries and equipment noong ika-24 ng Mayo. Sa isang engrandeng okasyon ng mga titulo ng lupa at makinarya na pinangunahan mismo ni Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr.
Daghang salamat sa among pinakamalangga nga sekretary sa Department of Agrarian Reform, sa aming mahal na Pangulo, Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Ito ang mga pag-unlad ng ating mga magsasaka dito sa Sibugay.
The countdown is on. Players, stakes, and the path to victory revealed at the Sharks Billiards Association's Philippine Open 2025 press conference on April 11th, 2 p.m., live on PTV and SBA's official social media pages.
And we are back. The Department of Agriculture, or DA, assured that the Philippines has enough supply of food. The Agriculture Department issued this clarification after the social weather stations released a survey wherein 27.2% of Filipinos said that they have experienced involuntary hunger in the past 3 months, which is the highest percentage recorded since the pandemic. According to Agriculture Secretary Francisco Chulorel Jr., the results of the survey, though, may be due to the effects of the dry season last year. On the other news, a lawyer and public accountant were arrested during a joint operation of the Department of Justice, or DOJ, and National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI, in Zamboanga City. Authorities recovered several videos of the suspect having sex with and also rescued several children from the suspect's custody. Meanwhile, the Bureau arrested a man for estafa for reportedly selling a piece of land that has already been sold, while another suspect was nabbed allegedly due to sextortion. With 2 weeks to go before the expected surge of returning passengers for the Holy Week, the Maritime Industry Authority, or the Marina, conducted early inspections of passenger vessels as part of its intensified compliance monitoring efforts to ensure safe travel. According to Marina Administrator Sonia Malaluan, 7 inspection teams have been deployed to key ports across the country. The inspections, which began today, will continue until April 12. Among requirements are the presence of life-saving appliances, including life vests, firefighting equipment, and the overall condition of vessel engines. The agency is also working closely with the Philippine Coast Guard, or the PCG, to ensure that passenger ships comply with safety regulations. Meanwhile, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, or BSP, projects the inflation rate for March 2025 to hover between 1.7 and 2.5%. The BSP explaining while electricity, fuel, and some essential goods saw a slight uptick in prices. This was balanced out by a drop in the cost of rice, fruits, and vegetables. Also, the strengthening of the Philippine peso could help keep inflation in check. It is worth noting that inflation stood at 2.1% in February of this year. The Department of Transportation, or DOTR, says that a scheduled fare hike for the Light Rail Transit Line 1 is needed to implement necessary upgrades and extension of its line stretching towards Cavite. The DOTR respects the decision of those who want to file an appeal against the fare adjustment for LRT 1, but the fare adjustment is already long overdue and necessary to ensure the operational viability of the rail line to sustain its necessary upgrades for the benefit of the commuting public. The department also pointed out that the rate increase is only the second rate increase since 2023, which is also much lower than the proposed 20 peso fare hike. Starting April 2, the maximum fare for a single journey ticket in LRT 1 would increase from 45 pesos to 55 pesos, while the minimum fare will rise from 15 pesos to 20 pesos. The Department of Agriculture, or DA, is considering the imposition of a maximum suggested retail price, or the MSRP, on garlic to prevent possible profiteering. According to Agriculture Secretary Francisco Chulorel Jr., the proposal to impose an MSRP on garlic has been under discussion but was placed on hold after the price per kilo dropped to around 100 pesos, down from as high as 160 pesos. Imported garlic accounts for 95% of the market supply, which significant volume being sourced from China. Also, the DA is closely monitoring the prices of eggs to ensure they don't rise to unreasonable levels. The secretary said the agency is making sure egg prices stay within 6 to 8 peso range, lower than the reported 10 to 12 pesos. Don't be deceived. That's the reminder of some lawmakers to the public, not just for April Fool's Day, but even for the upcoming 2025 national elections. According to Kabataan Party List Representative Raul Manuel, he knows that many Filipinos are pulling pranks today, but he hopes they do so in moderation. As the election day is fast approach, he also urges Filipinos not to let themselves be fooled by candidates who are unworthy of winning. For his part, Surigao del Norte 2nd District Representative Robert Ace Barbers has issued a warning against those who continue to spread fake news, as the House is already working on mechanisms and policies to hold those responsible on these issues accountable. The Philippine National Police said that 32 senior police officers are set to be promoted to the ranks of Major General and Brigadier General. The official donning of ranks and oath-taking rites for 4 Major Generals and 28 Brigadier General takes place tomorrow. The Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG, assured there would be no delay in the processing of promotions of third-level police officers. The National Police Commission earlier passed a resolution mandating the completion of the processing of promotion for third-level police officers within 30 days after receipt of complete documentary requirements. And for our weather update, the frontal system will affect the eastern section of northern Luzon, while the easterlies will bring isolated rain showers to the rest of the country. According to Pagasa, cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and isolated thunderstorms will persist over mainland Cagayan, Isabela, and Apayao. These moderate to at times heavy rains may trigger flash floods or landslides. Batanes and Babuyan Islands will experience cloudy skies with light rains due to northeasterly wind blows, while easterlies will bring partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms over Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Eid al-Fitr Mubarak, and that concludes a rundown of the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news and information from all across the nation. This is your trusted news source, always ready to inform and serve the Filipino people. Catch Balitang Pambansa again tomorrow at 7 a.m., 12 noon, 6 p.m., and 9:30 p.m. for more updates and developments. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Princess Abiba Saripaudak, and this is your Balitang Pambansa.